Hi guys! So we are down to our last topic for accounting for leases. In this video, we will focus on the perspective of the lessee. How do we account for leases kapag tumitingin naman tayo sa perspective ng lessee? As per IFRS 16, all leases shall be accounted by the lessee as finance lease. So, ang general rule natin, kapag nasa perspective naman tayo ni lessee, lahat ng leases ay i-account under finance lease. Sir, question. Wala nang operating lease classification pagdating kay lessee? Answer natin dyan, hindi naman siya totally nawala. Nagbigay ng strict exemptions ang IFRS 16 para pwede pa dating gamitin si operating lease when it comes to the perspective of the lessee. Pero mamaya na natin pag-usapan yung operating lease classification. Mag-focus muna tayo kay finance lease classification since this is the focus of our discussion. Dahil i-account natin ang mga leases ni lessee as finance lease, at initial recognition date, the lessee shall recognize a right-of-use asset and a lease liability. So, kapag tayo naman yung lessee, dalawang accounts ang i-recognize natin at the date of initial recognition or the commencement date. Now, unahin muna natin yung measurement principles ni lease liability before kay right-of-use asset. Bakit natin uunahin yung lease liability? Ang initial measurement ng lease liability kasi, that is one of the components of the right-of-use asset. Hindi natin mame-measure ang right-of-use asset hanggat hindi sa atin clear kung paano ba mini-measure si lease liability. Malinaw? Okay. So, the lessee shall measure the lease liability at the present value of lease payments at the commencement date. So, yung concept ng initial measurement ng lease liability, na-discuss ko na ito nung nasa finance lease lessor's perspective pa lang tayo. Okay? Kasi, ang concept ng finance lease sa pananaw ni lessor at ni lessee, halos magkapareho. May mga slight differences lang yung dalawa. Ngayon naman, i-discuss ko kung ano yung mga slight difference para hindi natin mailito kung kay lessee ba ito mag-apply or kay lessor. Okay? Sige. Now, the lease payments shall be discounted using the interest rate implicit in the lease. O, di ba? Similar pa rin yan sa finance lease sa perspective ni lessor. Sir, ano ba itong interest rate implicit in the lease? Bakit madalas siyang nababanggit sa mga lease problems? Okay. Ang interest rate implicit in the lease kasi, yan yung interest rate na magpapa-equal sa present value ng lease payments sa sum ng fair value ng lease asset at ng initial direct cost. Okay? Now, ang kaibahan lang ni lessee kay lessor pagdating dito is that may mga instances kasi na hindi alam ni lessee yung interest rate implicit in the lease. Kay lessor kasi manggagaling yung interest rate implicit in the lease since si lessor ang may hawak-hawak sa mga information when it comes to the lease contract. So, kung hindi alam ni lessee ang interest rate implicit in the lease, gagamitin niya na lang would be the incremental borrowing rate. Okay? So, ang summary, generally, we will have to use the interest rate implicit in the lease to discount the lease payments. Kung sakaling hindi alam ni lessee ang implicit interest rate, gagamitin niya na lang yung kanyang incremental borrowing rate. Malinaw? Okay. After initial measurement, the lease liability shall be measured using the effective interest method. O, pagdating dyan, similar na din sila ni lessor. Next, let's determine what are the different components of the initial measurement of your lease liability. The first component would be the present value of the rental payments. Second, present value of underlying guaranteed residual value. Pagdating kay lessee, ang i-account lang palagi natin would be the guaranteed residual value. We do not account for the unguaranteed residual value pag kay lessee na tayo nakatingin. Okay? Third component, present value of the purchase option. Similar concept ito kay lessor. I-include lang natin yan or i-account lang natin yan as part of the lease liability kapag reasonably certain tayo na i-exercise ni lessee yung purchase option. Pag hindi, huwag nyo na siyang i-account. Okay? So, ayan ang components ng lease liability initial measurement. Next. After lease liability, let's move on to measurement of right of use asset. How do we initially measure the right of use asset? As per IFRS 16, right of use asset shall be measured initially at cost. Ang right of use asset, para lang siyang property, plant and equipment. Okay? Sige. Next, determine natin yung mga components. Ano yung first component ng ating right of use asset? That is the initial measurement of the lease liability. As I've said earlier, component ng right of use asset ang initial measurement ng lease liability. Followed by lease payments made to lessor on or before the commencement date. Take note, net of any lease incentives. Now, bakit may initial direct cost ulit dito? Di ba sir, dapat si lessor ang nakaka-incur at nagbabayad yan? Generally, yes. Pero, pwedeng ipasa ni lessor kay lessee ang initial direct cost. Take note of that. Pwedeng ipasa ni lessor kay lessee yung initial direct cost. But generally, dapat si lessor ang magbabayad ng initial direct cost. Then the last component of your right of use asset is the dismantling cost, measured at present value. Sir, ano yung dismantling cost? Dismantling cost, yan yung estimated cost na may incur mo at the end of the lease term kapag tatanggalin mo na yung lease asset sa kinalalagyan niya. Okay? So, ayan ang components ng initial measurement ni right of use asset. Next, after initial measurement, we measure right of use asset using the cost model. When we say cost model, ito ay cost less accumulated depreciation. Tandaan, ang subsequent measurement ng right of use asset ay cost model. Cost less accumulated depreciation. Since dinidepreciate natin ang right of use asset, dapat alam din natin kung paano ito i-depreciate. Now, as per IFRS 16, right of use asset shall be depreciated over the useful life of the asset under two conditions. May dalawa tayong conditions para ma-depreciate natin siya over the useful life of the lease asset. First condition, there is a transfer of ownership clause in the lease contract. Kapag sinabi ni lessor, lessee, sa'yo na tong lease asset at the end of the lease term. Ayan. Therefore, i-depreciate na ni lessee yan over the useful life. Or, meron tayong purchase option at sigurado tayong i-exercise na ni lessee yung purchase option. So, those are the two conditions para ma-depreciate natin ang right of use asset over the useful life of the lease asset. Therefore, the formula is cost less residual value divided by useful life. Normal, straight line depreciation yan, class. Okay? Now, sir, paano kung wala tayong na-meet dito sa dalawang condition para i-depreciate natin siya sa over the useful life of the lease asset? Kung wala, mapipilitan tayong i-depreciate yan over the shorter between the useful life and the lease term. O, tandaan na, ito yung dalawang conditions natin para ma-depreciate over the useful life, yung right of use asset. Kung wala dyan sa dalawang yan, i-depreciate natin siya over the shorter of the useful life, and the lease term. So ano naman ang formula niyan, sir? That is cost less, underline, guaranteed residual value. Kung may guaranteed residual value, yun ang ipang-minus nyo kay acquisition cost. Okay? E paano, sir, kung unguaranteed yung given? Huwag kang mag-minus ng unguaranteed residual value. Specific tayong guaranteed residual value ang ima-minus natin. Okay? Then, divide it by the shorter between the lease term or useful life. Next. Ano nga ulit yung executory cost? These are ownership expenses. Ano treatment? Ano treatment natin kay executory cost? They are expense as incurred. Now, sir, bakit mo pinasok ulit yung executory cost? Di ba dapat kay lessor lang yan? Answer? Generally, dapat kay lessor yan. E kaso, pwede niya rin yan ipasa kay lessee, yung executory cost. Kaya, nirefresh natin yung concept ng executory cost. Malinaw, dapat expense lang palagi si executory cost. Hindi siya nagpo-form part of the right of use asset. Financial statement presentation. How do we present right of use asset and how do we present the lease liability? Right of use asset is presented under non-current assets. Specifically, that is under property, plant, and equipment. Next, on the other hand, pagdating kay lease liability, it is partly current and partly non-current liability. Kasi, bakit siya naging partly current, partly non-current? Kasi, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga periodic rentals. Therefore, may mga portion na nagiging current at may portion pang nagiging non-current. Okay? Lease liability, partly current, partly non-current. Ang right of use asset under non-current assets yan, specifically, property, plant, and equipment. Okay? So, i-apply natin ang mga discussions natin kay problem number 1. A company leased a machinery on January 1, 2020 with the following information. So, ayan, given na sa atin yung mga relevant information. Annual rental, residual value, guarantee, payment to lessor to obtain a long-term lease, cost of dismantling and restoring the asset as required by contract at present value, executory cost, then lease term, useful life. Okay? Sige. So, there will be 6 requirements for this problem. Isa-isahin natin sila. Ready? What is the initial lease liability on January 1, 2020? So, kung ano man yung present kong mga components kanina, yun lang din ang isasali natin sa computations ng initial lease liability. Okay? So, the first component, present value of rentals. Magkano yun? Yung annual rentals natin? 1 million. What is the payment term? Is it in advance or at the end of each period? Answer, at the end of each period. Kaya, gagamitan nyo siya ng present value ordinary annuity. Okay? So, 1 million times 3.17, we have 3,170,000. Followed by present value of guaranteed residual value. Yung given na residual value, guaranteed or unguaranteed? Answer, guaranteed. Therefore, kasali yan sa computations natin. Magkano siya? 500,000. Anong klaseng PV factor ang gagamitin natin? Is it still ordinary annuity or single payment? The answer, single payment. Kasi sa dulo ng lease term yan, marirealize. Okay? Therefore, 500,000 times 0.68. So, magkano to? 340,000. Last component, present value of purchase option. May purchase option ba tayo? Wala. Dapat wala. Kasi may residual value tayo. Tandaan niyo yung sinabi ko nung nasa lessor pa lang tayo, isa lang between the residual value and purchase option ang dapat lumabas. Hindi pwedeng magsabay yung dalawa. Kasi conflicting concept yung dalawa. Pag may residual value kasi, Meaning, ibabalik kay lessor. Pag may purchase option, may chances na malilipat yung ownership ng lease asset kay lessee. Malinaw. Kaya, 0 ito. So, how much is your initial lease liability? That is 3,510,000. That's for your item number 1. Next, what is the cost of right of use asset? Okay, so gagawin natin kung ano man yung mga pre-present kong components kanina, yun lang din ang mga isasali natin sa computation. First component, the initial measurement of lease liability. Kung ano isagot natin kanina kay number 1, that's already your first component of initial measurement of right of use asset. Next, lease payments made on or before the commencement date. Net of any lease incentives kung meron. May binayaran ba si lessee kay lessor? Answer, yes, meron. Magkano yan? 300,000. Capitalizable as part of right of use asset. Next, may initial direct cost ba tayo? Answer, wala akong nakikita sa problem, kaya 0. Last one, dismantling cost. Since naka-present value naman na siya, yan na agad ang isasali natin sa computation. Therefore, how much is your initial measurement of right of use asset? That is 4.2 million. That's your item number 2. Okay? Lagyan natin ng journal entry para may reference kayo. On January 1, 2020, ano ang magiging journal entry? Debit, right of use, asset. Credit, lease, liability, which is yung na-compute natin kanina sa number 1. Now, tapos na ba yung journal entry? No, hindi pa balanse yung debit and credit natin. Therefore, ano pa yung mga accounts na gagalawin natin for this one? Okay? Next, credit, cash. Ano yung 300,000 ulit, sir? Yan yung mga lease payments na ginawa nyo on or before commencement date. Ngayon nyo lang siya ni-recognize. Okay? Sa tingin nyo, sino pa ang kulang? That is the dismantling cost. Diba, sir, i-credit na lang natin sa cash. Answer? Hindi. Wala namang nilabas na cash pagdating sa dismantling cost eh. In-estimate pa lang natin yan. Okay? So, anong account ang gagamitin ko dyan, sir? That is your provision for dismantling. That is in accordance with your provisions. Yung lectures or lesson on provisions. Nandun yung dismantling natin. Okay? Kaya, ayan ang journal entry natin ng January 1, 2020. Malinaw? Okay. Next, number 3. What is the depreciation for 2020? Ayun. So, alam natin, mag-straight line method tayo. Tama? Okay. Tignan muna natin, assess muna natin kung may mamimit siya dun sa dalawang conditions na binigay ko kanina. Is there any transfer of ownership of the asset? Answer? Wala. Bakit? Ibabalik kasi yan kay lessor. Meron kasi siyang guaranteed residual value. Is there any purchase option? Wala. Therefore, since wala dun sa dalawang condition, how do we depreciate this right of use asset? Is it over the useful life or over the shorter of the useful life of the lease asset and the lease term? The answer should be shorter. Already? Okay. How much is the cost? 4.2 million. Is there any guaranteed residual value? Yes. Magkano yun? 500,000. Uy, wag yung 340,000 na present value, ang ipang-minus niyo dito ay yung absolute amount ng guaranteed residual value. Therefore, how much is our depreciable cost? 3.7 million. Divided by, ano nga sabi natin kanina? Shorter between the lease term and useful life. Ilang years ang lease term? 4 years. Useful life? 8 years. Whichever is shorter, which is 4 years. So, how much is the annual depreciation? 925,000. Ops, hindi pa yan ang final answer. Dapat may imumultiply pa tayong tinatawag na time factor fraction. Okay? That is, number of months depreciated over 12. Kailan ba tayo pumasok sa lease? January 1. So, walang problema. Number of months depreciated? 12 over 12. Therefore, how much is our depreciation expense for 2020? 925,000. That's for your item number 3. Okay? Number 4. Tinatanong na tayo, how much is the lease liability as of December 31, 2020? So, i-apply na natin yung subsequent measurement principles ng lease liability natin. Paano nga ulit ang subsequent measurement? Effective interest method. Kailangan natin gumawa ng amortization schedule natin. Okay? So, ito yung mga columns na gagamitin natin. The date, rental payments, interest expense, payment applied to principal, and lastly, carrying value of your lease liability. Okay? Plot natin yung initial measurement. As of January 1, magkano initial measurement ng lease liability? 3,510,000. Next. Fast forward December 31, 2020. Ano yung unang fill-upan natin? Interest expense muna. Okay? Paano nga ulit kinocompute ang interest expense? Previous carrying value multiplied by interest rate implicit in the lease. So, magkano ito? That is 351,000. Since our interest rate implicit in the lease is 10%. Then, pakiplot na yung annual rentals nating 1 million. How much is the payment applied to principal? 1 million less interest of 351,000, 649,000. Yung payment na i-apply lang sa principal ang ipang babawas natin sa carrying value ng lease liability. That's why the answer for number 4 should be 2,861,000. Okay? That's for your number 4. Then, for your reference, itutuloy ko yung amortization schedule natin. Tatapusin ko yung amortization schedule natin until the end of this term. Charan! Ayan. At the end of the lease term, magkano na ang carrying value ng lease liability? That is 500,000. Ano yung 500,000? That's your guaranteed residual value. Okay? Ano ang journal entry natin kapag December 31? That is debit, interest expense, recognition of your interest, credit, lease liability. Then, don't forget yung annual payments. Debit, lease liability, credit, cash. Tapos na ba yan, sir? Hindi pa. Tandaan nyo, may right of use asset tayong dine-depreciate. That is, debit, depreciation, credit, accumulated depreciation. Pwede nyo ring i-credit na lang yung right of use asset account. No? Pwede rin yung right of use asset account. Okay? For simplicity. Number 5. Ito na. Assuming at the end of the lease term, the fair value of the machinery is 520,000. Prepare the journal entry on that date to record the return of equipment to the lessor. Before that, dapat alam din kasi natin ang carrying value ng lease asset at the end of the lease term. Okay? So, ayan. Ginawan ko rin siya ng schedule. Date, depreciation expense, accumulated depreciation, and carrying value. As of January 1, magkano carrying value ng right of use asset natin? 4.2 million. How much is the depreciation for 2020? As computed kanina, 925,000. Since this is the first year of depreciation, accumulated depreciation is still equal to the depreciation for the year. Okay? So, magkano ang carrying value by the end of year 2020? 3,275,000. Followed by, next year, another depreciation of 925,000. Ano na mangyayari sa accumulated depreciation? lalaki na yan. Okay? Ang accumulated depreciation, lalaki na yan kasi iniipon natin yung mga depreciation each year. O, carrying value, magkano na? 2.35 million. Next, December 31, 2022, the third, 925,000, lalong lumalaki yung accumulated, bumababa na yung carrying value natin. Then, at the end of the lease term, magkano na lang carrying value natin? 500,000, which is equal to the guaranteed residual value. Okay, so nandyan na yung carrying value ng lease liability, pati na rin yung carrying value ng right of use asset at the end of the lease term. O, ready na for the journal entry. Okay, ano journal entry natin pag ibabalik na yung equipment kay lessor? Debit, lease liability. And ano credit? Right of use asset. Tatanggalin na natin yan sa libro ni Lessee since binalik na natin kay lessor yung lease asset. Malinaw ba? That's your number 5. Number 6. Assuming at the end of the lease term, the fair value of the machinery is 450,000. Prepare the journal entry on that date to record the return of the equipment. Okay. O, magkano naman ang fair value ngayon? 450,000, which is lower than the guaranteed residual value. So, ano journal entry natin dito? Kokopyahin nyo pa rin naman yung journal entry natin na normal, which is debit the lease liability and credit the right of use asset. Okay? Pero, ang catch dyan, class, it's ganito. Magkano guaranteed? 500,000. Sinigurado mo kay lessor na ang magiging value ng lease asset is 500,000. Eh, magkano ngayon ang fair value niya? 450,000. Tama? Since sinigurado mong 500,000 yun, pero nagkulang ang actual fair value, anong gagawin ni lessor kay lessee? Sisingilin niya ni lessor. Dahil kulang ang actual fair value sa guaranteed residual value, kailangan magbayad ni lessee ng deficiency. So, another entry is debit, loss on finance lease, credit, cash. Malinaw tayo. Okay? So, summarize lang natin, no? Di ba sa number 5, magkano yung actual fair value? Higher than the guaranteed residual value. Okay? So, dahil mas malaki naman or mas mataas naman pala si actual fair value, hindi naging paasa si lessee rito. That's why, hindi na natin kailangan i-account yung surplus. That is similar kay lessor accounting finance lease. Pag surplus, hindi natin i-account. Pero kapag nakulangan, like this in number 6, kailangan magbayad ni lessee. Kasi, pinaasa niya si lessor na 500,000 yung magiging value ng kanyang lease asset by the end of this term. Are we clear? Okay. That's all for your problem number 1. That is the case of guaranteed residual value. Now, before we go into problem number 2, eto pa, may follow-up question. Sir, paano kung may unguaranteed residual value? I-account ba natin din yon? Answer, hindi nga natin i-account yung unguaranteed kapag na kay lessee tayo, tama? Hindi natin i-account. Kay lessor lang yung pag-account nung unguaranteed residual value. Refer to your Accounting for Leases, Lessor's Perspective on Finance Lease, Part 1. Okay? Sige. Problem number 2. This time, meron tayong purchase option naman. Okay? So, may 6 requirements tayong sasagutan for this problem. Okay. Now, ready? Number 1. What is the cost of the right of use asset? Kahit yan ang unang tatanungin sa atin, dapat dadaan muna tayo sa initial measurement ng lease liability. Okay? Kasi Ang initial measurement ng lease liability, component siya ng right of use asset. Okay? So, ready? PV of rentals, same manner of computation. Since wala tayong guaranteed residual value, 0. Ngayon kasi may purchase option, kaya si purchase option naman ang may laman ngayon. Alright? Therefore, magkano ang initial measurement ng lease liability? 4.1 million. Tuloy na natin. After the initial measurement of lease liability, ano ang kasunod na component ng right of use asset natin? That is, the payment to lessor at or on or before the commencement date, net of any lease incentives. Kaso wala namang binayaran yung lessee kay lessor for the commencement date. Kaso may incentives na binigay si lessor, kaya kailangan natin i-deduct yung lease incentives. Okay? Next. Initial direct cost. Since may initial direct cost naman tayo sa problem na to, kailangan natin siyang i-include sa cost ng right of use asset. Okay? Ano pa? May dismantling cost? Wala. Kaya, hindi ko na siya pinasok dito. So, how much is the right of use asset? January 1, 2018? 4.4 million. Number 2. What is the depreciation for 2018? Now, how do we depreciate the right of use asset this time? Assess ulit natin. May mamimit kaya ito sa dalawang conditions na binigay ni IFRS 16? Is there any transfer of ownership in the lease contract? None. Is there any purchase option that is reasonably certain na i-exercise ni lessee? Answer, yes. Therefore, i-depreciate natin yan over the useful life of the lease asset. So, cost, walang residual value. Okay? Wala namang given kasing residual value sa problem. Then, that will be your depreciable cost divided by useful life na ng lease asset. So, magkano annual depreciation? 550. Multiply by number of months depreciated over 12. Okay? So, how much is your depreciation for 2018? 550,000. That's for your item number 2. Pinagsama ko na yung number 3 and number 4 since nasa amortization schedule natin makukuha yung sagot. Ready? So, ganun ulit ang mga components ng amortization schedule natin. As of commencement date, how much is the carrying value of the lease liability? 4.1 million. On December 31, 2018, how much is your interest expense? That is, previous carrying value multiplied by interest rate implicit in the lease, which is 10%. So, interest expense, 410,000. Lease payments, magkano? 1 million. Magkano yung i-apply lang natin sa principal? 1 million less 410,000, 590,000. So, magkano na lang ang CV ng lease liability natin on December 31, 2018? 3.51 million. Tuloy ko lang yung amortization schedule natin. December 31, 2019, the same procedure. 2020, the same. 2021, 2022. So, kompleto natin yung amortization schedule natin dito. Okay? So, ang sagot natin for number 3 would be magkano? 410,000. What is the lease liability? December 31, that is 3,510,000. Okay. Assuming at the end of the lease term, the lessee actually exercised the option to purchase the lease asset. Prepare the journal entry on that date. Before that, journal entry, dapat alam din natin yung carrying value ng lease asset na natin sa libro. December 1, the CV of the right of use asset is 4.4 million. December 31, 2018, depreciation 550, accumulated is still equal. Okay? Next, second year, lolobo na yung accumulated depreciation natin to 1.1 million. CV, 3,300,000. 2020, 2021, the same procedures, 2022. Okay? So, ayan ang CV ng ating lease asset at the end of the lease term. Sir, bakit parang medyo malaki yung carrying value ng lease asset natin dito? Answer, kasi hindi pa talaga tapos i-depreciate ni lessee. Tandaan nyo, dinepreciate yan over the useful life, not over the lease term. Okay? Kaya medyo malaki pa si carrying value. Okay, ready for the journal entry? Debit, lease liability, which is the purchase option. Credit, cash. Since in-exercise ni lessee ang purchase option, magbabayad na lang siya ng 500,000. Okay? Then, followed by the entry after this, first entry is debit, building, credit, right of use, asset. So, nagkaroon tayo ng reclassification entry. Bakit kailangan natin i-reclassify? Kasi, nung nasa lease term pa lang tayo, may right lang tayo sa paggamit ng lease asset, pero hindi pa talaga sa atin. Ngayon, atin na yan. Kaya, ililipat na natin siya sa ibang asset account. Tandaan nyo, pag within the lease term, ang right lang natin ay gamitin yung asset. Hindi natin pagmamay-ari pa yan over the lease term. Ngayon kasi, in-exercise ang purchase option, nailipat sa atin yung ownership ng lease asset. Malinaw? Okay. Number 6. Assuming the lessee did not exercise its option to purchase the lease asset, prepare the journal entry at the end of the lease term. Okay. Debit, lease liability. Ano credit natin, sir? Cash? Hindi. Hindi nga in-exercise eh. So, hindi magbabayad ng cash yung lessee. Ano credit natin, sir? Credit, right of use asset. Since hindi natin in-exercise ang purchase option, ibabalik natin yung asset kay lessor. Kaya naka-credit yung right of use asset natin. Tapos na ba si journal entry? Hindi pa. Kasi hindi pa balansyado yung debit and credit. Nasaan ang kulang? Debit. How much is the kulang? 1.15 million. Anong account ang gagalawin natin for that difference? Ito analysis natin ha. Magkano pa yung value ng lease asset at the end of the lease term? 1.65 million. Para mapasa lang yung ownership kay lessee, dapat magbabayad lang siya ng magkano? 500,000. Kaso, hindi niya in-exercise yung purchase option. Pinakawalan niya yung tsansa. Therefore, ano mangyayari sa libro ng lessee? Dahil pinakawalan niya, magre-record siya ng loss on non-exercise of the purchase option. Nasa kanya na, pinakawalan niya pa. Kaya loss na niya. Malinaw tayo. That's your number 6. We are done with the 2 problems on finance lease accounting for the lessee. Okay? Sige. Eto na. Nasa last part na tayo ng discussion natin ng lessee accounting. Okay. Diba ang sabi ko kanina, hindi naman totally tinanggal ang operating lease classification kay lessee. May binigay lang na strict exemptions ang IFRS 16 para magamit yung operating lease model natin. Ano yung mga strict exemptions? A lessee is permitted to apply operating lease under 2 exemptions lang. Dalawa lang yung exemptions. Number 1, short-term lease. Number 2, low-value lease. Refresh natin from our introductory concepts of leases. Pag sinabi kasi natin short-term lease, the lease term is 12 months or less from the commencement date. Ang low-value lease naman, ibig lang sabihin yan, mababa lang yung value ng lease asset. Okay? Wala tayong fixed quantitative threshold that is purely based on professional judgment. Malinaw? Okay. Under operating lease model, pareho na sila ni lessor dito. Okay? Pag operating lease kasi, we will recognize lease payments as expense in a straight line basis over the lease term. So, kung nakay lessor tayo, nagre-recognize tayo ng lease income in a straight line basis over the lease term. Dito naman, since tayo ang lessee, magre-recognize tayo ng expense on a straight line basis. The same yung procedure. Straight line basis lang tayo. Problem number 1. On August 1, Layla Company leased a tablet from Mia Company for a period of 1 year. Rentals are payable at the beginning of each month starting August 1. Lease agreement called for the first 6 months rental to be 5,000 per month, while the last 6 months rental to be 6,000 per month. What is the lease expense for the year 2020? What amount shall be reported as lease liability December 31, 2020? Okay. In this problem, ilang months lang ang lease term? 12 months or 1 year. That's why, gagamitan na natin agad siya ng operating lease classification. Short-term lease lang kasi ito eh. Okay? Sige. So, how do we compute for our requirement number 1? Similar kay lessor, dapat makompute muna natin yung total rentals over the lease term. So, summarize lang muna natin. For the first 6 months, magkano per month natin? 5,000. Multiply that by 6 months, you will get 30,000. For the last 6 months, per month is 6,000. Multiply nyo rin yan ng 6 months, 36,000. So, how much is your total rental over the lease term? 66,000. Ikakalat nyo yan over the lease term of 1 year or 12 months. So, magkano ang lease expense per month? 5.5 million. 5,500, sorry. Okay? So, for number 1, our answer is 5,500 per month times 5 months only. Kasi, August tayo pumasok sa lease contract natin. So, final answer for number 1, 27,500. Number 2, how much is the lease liability on December 31, 2020? So, similar ulit kay lessor, sa part 2 ng discussions natin for accounting for leases, ipag-compare lang natin yung lease expense already recognized versus the lease payments made. Okay? So, lease expense to date as of December 31 is 27,500, which is yung na-compute natin kanina. Then, kindly compare that for the lease payments made as of December 31. So, since nasa first 6 months pa lang naman tayo, puro 5,000 per month pa lang nababayaran natin. So, that is 5,000 times 5 months, 25,000. Magkano ang utang pa natin sa dulo? May 2,500 lease liability. Alright? Okay, I believe this is the last problem for your Lessee Accounting. On April 1, Year 1, Louis Company enters into a 5-year lease of a personal computer. Under the terms of the lease, rent for the Year 1 is 8,000 and rent for years 2 through 5 is 12,500 per annum. Payable every March 31 starting March 31, 2019. However, as an inducement to enter the lease, the lessor granted Louis the first 6 months of the lease rent-free. Louis assesses that the lease is a lease of an underlying asset of low value and elects to apply the recognition exemptions of IFRS 16. It is already understood, mag-operating lease ulit tayo dito. Kasi, hindi man short-term ang lease, low value asset naman pala ito. Alright? Tandaan nyo, hindi naman kailangan na ma-meet yung dalawang exemption. Isa lang sa kanila, okay na. Pag ang lease term nyo ay 12 months lang, pwede na siya i-operating lease. Kung ang lease term nyo ay lagpas 1 year pero na-assess nyo naman pala na low value yung lease asset, mag-operating lease pa rin. Pero pag wala na talaga doon sa dalawang exemption, ay finance lease na yan. Malinaw? Okay. Number 1, how much is the lease expense for year 1? How much should be reported as lease payable December 31, year 2? What amount shall be reported as lease expense for year 3 and lease payable December 31, year 3? Okay? So, ang year 1 natin dito, class, is 2018. Take note, ang year 1 ay 2018. Etong 2019, year 2. Nasa year 2 na yan. Alright? Sige. Similar sa first problem, dapat makompute muna natin yung total lease payments over the lease term. Summarize lang natin. The rent for the year 1 is 8,000. Kaso, the first 6 months is rent-free. Kaya, yung last 6 months lang yung magiging lease payments natin. So, 8,000 times 6 over 12, 4,000. Then, add the lease payments for years 2 to 5, 5 times 4 years. So, how much is your total lease payments over the lease term? 54,000. Then, ikakalat nyo yan over the lease term of 5 years. So, your annual lease expense is 10,800 per year. Number 1, how much is the lease expense year 1 or year 2018? That is 10,800 times 9 over 12. Saan natin nakuha yung 9 over 12? Since April 1 tayo pumasok sa lease contract, April until December. That's your 9 months. So you have 8,100 lease expense. Number 2, how much is the operating lease payable as of December 31, year 2? Magkano na ang lease expense to date natin? Diba during the year 1, 9 months lang tayo? Pagdating ng year 2, ilang months na? Ilang months na yung sa year 2 natin? That is 12 months. So 12 plus 9 months. Kaya yung 10,800, minultiply ko siya sa 21 months over 12. Kaya nakakuha kayo ng 18,900. Then, compare that to the lease payments already made. Lease payments already made. So, how much is that? That is 8,000 times 6 over 12. Okay, yan yung nagawa na nating payments as of December 31, year 2. So, magkano operating lease payable natin on December 31, year 2? 14,900. Now, sir, bakit 4,000 lang yung nakasali natin ditong lease payments? Di ba year 2 na tayo? Yes, year 2 na tayo. Kaso, kailan yung susunod na bayad? Yun ang tanong ko. Kailan ang susunod na bayad? Di ba magbabayad daw siya every March 31 of each year? So, yung nabayaran pa lang ay yung pang first year. Since the first 6 months of the first year is rent-free, kaya 6 months pa lang ang nababayaran natin. Malinaw tayo, okay? Tandaan nyo, nagbabayad tayo ng annual lease every March 31 of each year. March 31 of year 2, nagbayad pa lang tayo dyan ng 4,000. Yung susunod na bayaran, next year, year 3 na. Okay? Sige. Number 3, lease expense, year 3, since 12 months naman yung year 3, 10,800 agad yung lease expense natin. Walang problema sa number 3. Ito. Number 4, lease expense to date. December 31, year 3. Bakit 33 na yung numerator natin? Balikan natin year 1 ha. Year 1, 9 months. Year 2, year 3, 12 months each. So, 12 plus 12, 24 plus 9. Yan yung 33 over 12. That's your lease expense already recognized to date. 29,700. Compare that to the lease payments already made. That is, magkano? 12,500 plus 4,000. Tandaan nyo, every March 31 ang bayaran ng lease payments kay lessor. Kaya 12,500, isang 12,500 pa lang ang sinali ko sa computation. Okay? So, how much is your operating lease payable? Dahil may expense ka ng 29,700, pero ang mga payments na nagagawa mo pa lang ay 16,500, you have a payable of 13,200. And that's the end of our lesson. I hope you learned something, and thank you for watching. God bless. Stay safe.